Certainly. Here's a more detailed exploration of the Amityville haunted house, covering the historical context, the DeFeo murders, the Lutz family's experiences, and the subsequent cultural phenomenon. The Amityville house is located at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, a small village in the town of Babylon, Suffolk County, on Long Island, New York. Amityville is a quiet, suburban community known for its tree-lined streets and waterfront properties, situated along the Great South Bay. The house at 112 Ocean Avenue was constructed in 1924 in the Dutch colonial style, characterized by its gambrel roof and distinctive windows that were later likened to eyes. The house originally sat on a large lot with a swimming pool, boathouse, and a dock leading to the Amityville River. Its interior included 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a spacious basement, and an attic. The DeFeo murders. Family background: the DeFeo family, consisting of Ronald Sr., 43, Louise, 42, and their 5 children, Ronald Jr., 23, Dawn, 18, Allison, 13, Mark, 12, and John Matthew, 9, moved into the house in the mid-1960s. Ronald Sr. was described as a domineering figure, often abusive toward his family. The family had a reputation for living a relatively affluent lifestyle, supported by Ronald Sr.'s successful car dealership business. The crime. On the night of November 13, 1974, Ronald Butch DeFeo Jr., the eldest son, methodically shot and killed 6 members of his family while they were asleep. The murders were carried out with a .35 caliber Marlin rifle. The victims were found lying face down in their beds. Despite the gunshots being fired in the dead of night, no neighbors reported hearing the shots, and the DeFeo family members appeared not to have moved from their positions, raising questions about whether they were drugged. However, toxicology reports showed no evidence of sedatives in their systems. The following day, Butch DeFeo entered a local bar, shouting that his family had been killed. He initially claimed that the murders were carried out by a mob hitman, but under police interrogation, he confessed to the killings, citing voices in his head that told him to commit the murders. DeFeo's defense attorney, William Weber, attempted to plead insanity, arguing that DeFeo heard voices that commanded him to kill his family. However, the prosecution countered with evidence of DeFeo's history of drug use and behavioral issues, suggesting he was fully aware of his actions. On November 21, 1975, DeFeo was convicted of 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 6 concurrent life sentences. He was imprisoned at the Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York, until his death in 2021. The Lutz family and the alleged haunting. In December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz purchased the house for $80,000, a significant discount due to the home's grisly history. The couple, along with Kathy's 3 children from a previous marriage, Daniel, 9, Christopher, 7, and Melissa, 5, moved into the house with high hopes for their new home. Almost immediately after moving in, the Lutz family began experiencing what they described as paranormal phenomena. They claimed to feel an ominous presence and notice strange, unexplainable occurrences, such as doors and windows opening on their own and foul odors with no identifiable source. Despite it being December, the family reported an infestation of flies in the sewing room, a phenomenon that they claimed was impossible to explain. The family often felt sudden drops in temperature, even in areas where there were no drafts or reason for the cold. The Lutzes claimed that green slime oozed from the walls and keyholes, a bizarre occurrence that added to the growing tension in the house. George Lutz reported hearing unexplainable noises, such as the sound of a marching band or a knocking sound that would occur in different parts of the house. At one point, they heard what sounded like a large door slamming in the middle of the night. Both George and Kathy Lutz claimed to have seen ghostly apparitions, including a hooded figure in their living room and a demonic face with glowing red eyes. George Lutz consistently woke up at 3:15 a.m. every morning, the exact time of the DeFeo murders. He also began to exhibit signs of a drastic personality change, growing increasingly irritable and distant. On one occasion, Kathy Lutz allegedly levitated several feet above her bed while sleeping, only to wake up with strange red welts on her chest. The children reported seeing an entity they called Jody, which sometimes appeared as a pig with glowing red eyes. At times, Melissa claimed that Jody spoke to her. Their dog, Harry, reportedly exhibited strange behavior, including one instance where it allegedly tried to hang itself by leaping over a fence while still tied to its leash. After just 28 days, on January 14, 1976, the Lutz family fled the house, leaving behind most of their belongings. They claimed they could no longer endure the terror of living there and sought refuge with Kathy's mother. The Lutzes quickly sought help from paranormal experts, including a local Catholic priest who had attempted to bless the house. The priest allegedly experienced paranormal phenomena as well, including a loud, disembodied voice telling him to get out, and blisters appearing on his hands after the blessing. News of the Lutz family's experiences spread rapidly, attracting significant media attention. Reporters, paranormal investigators, and curious onlookers flocked to the house, eager to witness the alleged haunting firsthand. The Lutzes, along with author Jay Anson, wrote The Amityville Horror, a true story, which was published in 1977. The book became an instant bestseller, captivating readers with its chilling recount of the supernatural events that allegedly occurred in the house. Anson's book was presented as a true story, though it was written in a sensationalized style typical of horror fiction. The 1979 film, the book's success led to a 1979 film adaptation, The Amityville Horror, directed by Stuart Rosenberg and starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder as George and Kathy Lutz. The film was a major box office success, grossing over $80 million and solidifying the story's place in popular culture. Sequels and remakes. The success of the original film spawned a franchise, including sequels, remakes, and spin-offs. These films varied in their adherence to the original story, with some focusing on entirely fictional elements while others claimed to be based on true events. Notable entries include Amityville 2, The Possession, 1982, Amityville 3D, 1983, and a 2005 remake of the original film. Cultural impact. The Amityville horror story became a significant influence on the horror genre, particularly in the realm of haunted house stories. It also contributed to the growing public fascination with the paranormal during the late 20th century, aligning with other high-profile hauntings like the Enfield poltergeist and the accounts of Ed and Lorraine Warren. Controversy and skepticism. Discrepancies. As the story gained popularity, various investigators and skeptics began to scrutinize the Lutzes' claims. Many pointed out inconsistencies in their story, suggesting that certain events were exaggerated or fabricated. William Weber's confession. In 1979, William Weber, the attorney who initially defended Ronald DeFeo, claimed that he and the Lutzes had concocted the haunting story together over several bottles of wine. Weber alleged that the story was intended to be a money-making venture, and that he had provided the Lutzes with some of the details about the DeFeo murders that were then incorporated into their account of the haunting. Investigations. Paranormal investigators. Several paranormal investigators visited the Amityville house, including Ed and Lorraine Warren, famed for their work on cases such as the Annabelle doll and the Enfield poltergeist. The Warrens claimed the house was indeed haunted and that it contained a powerful demonic presence. However, their findings were met with skepticism by the scientific community. Skeptical inquiries. Other investigators, such as journalist Rick Osuna and parapsychologist Stephen Kaplan, disputed the Lutzes' account. Osuna's book The Night the DeFeos Died presented evidence suggesting that many of the paranormal elements were fabricated, while Kaplan's investigation accused the Lutzes of hoaxing the entire story. Psychological explanations. Some experts have suggested that the Lutz family's experiences could be explained by psychological factors, such as suggestion, stress, and the power of belief. Moving into a house with such a traumatic history could have triggered a psychological response, leading to perceived paranormal experiences. Current status of the house. Renovations. Over the years, the Amityville house has undergone significant renovations, including the removal of the iconic quarter-moon windows that were so closely associated with the story. The address was also changed to 108 Ocean Avenue in an attempt to deter tourists and curiosity seekers. Subsequent owners. The house has been sold multiple times since the Lutz family fled. None of the subsequent owners have reported any paranormal activity, and many have expressed frustration with the constant attention the property receives due to its infamous history. Recent sales. In 2017, the house was sold for $605,000, well below its original asking price. The new owners have maintained a low profile, seeking privacy from the house's notorious past. Cultural and social impact. Horror genre influence. The Amityville horror has had a profound influence on the horror genre, particularly in film and literature. Its combination of real-life tragedy and alleged supernatural occurrences created a template for future haunted house narratives. The story's emphasis on a seemingly ordinary family being terrorized by malevolent forces resonated with audiences, making it a lasting fixture in popular culture. Paranormal tourism. The Amityville house has become a destination for paranormal enthusiasts, although the current owners have discouraged public interest. The story also contributed to the rise of paranormal tourism, with other haunted locations around the world drawing visitors eager to experience similar phenomena. Ethical considerations. The story has also raised ethical questions about the commercialization of tragedy and the impact on the surviving family members of both the DeFeos and the Lutzes. Critics have argued that the continued exploitation of the Amityville horror for entertainment purposes overlooks the real-life suffering that occurred within the house. The Amityville haunted house story is a complex blend of fact and fiction, tragedy and sensationalism. It has captivated the public's imagination for decades, fueled by books, films, and endless speculation. Whether viewed as a genuine account of a haunting or as a masterful hoax, the Amityville horror remains one of the most iconic and enduring tales of the supernatural in American culture. Its legacy continues to provoke debate, inspire horror stories, and challenge our understanding of the boundary between reality and the paranormal.